I think we are live, ladies and gentlemen. May 30th, 2024, Canoga Park, California, at the 2LaneLIVE headquarters. This episode is brought to you by EagleRider Motorcycle Rentals and Tours. Don't forget to check out 2LaneLIVE.com under the EagleRider tab to see how you can book a trip, save some money, and have a good time while you're at it. We were having a little bit of technical difficulties today, so hang on in there with us. But we've got the one and only Bill Davidson on today, and we're going to talk life, bikes, and good times, and some Harley-Davidson history. So what's going on, boys? A quick little update before we get into it.
Well, what a great drop yesterday. We finally got the bikes kind of dialed in. You're almost fully dialed in right now because you got the suspension on as well.
I'm pretty fully dialed in. The only thing left is the Rockford Fosgate.
Oh, yeah.
If we do that update. But other than that, suspension, bars, hard parts, bike is really great.
Yeah, I mean, I love the setup. I did the 9.5 pullback. You can go to 2LaneLIVE.com and check out the 2024 bike parts. You'll see that there are bagger parts. I did the 9.5 pullback with a high bend bar, but I went with the stainless, as did you, and as did Josh. But you did the mid bend, right?
I did the mid bend with the 9.5, but I think I'm going to be going to chrome as soon as the shipment comes in. So
the bar, or
the
really?
bars.
Okay, well, all right. I'm sticking with the stainless still.
Yeah, I like the stainless, but Lance and I were talking. He said, with all the chrome you have, the bars might just,
Well, who would have thought 4 years ago? You and I have been friends forever. 4 years ago, we start this channel.
Yep.
And the last 4 years have just been insanely incredible. And we love our Harley-Davidsons and always have. And we had Karen Davidson on a month ago or so. And we're lucky enough to have Bill join us as well. So hopefully it's not glitchy and hopefully we're not garbled. But if it is, stay tuned because we're going to do a couple different things and try to keep this thing going.
But you know what? It's like we feel like we're part of the family now, in the Harley-Davidson family. That's kind of, when you love the bike that you ride, you go places, you get to learn on them. What great time machines they are.
I don't know if you can see, but what's next to us? The big
I think we have
sign.
Another angle.
There we go.
Boom.
Woo!
Right there.
So without further ado, shall we bring him in?
I think we should get him in here.
Let's do it.
Bill, how the heck are you?
I'm doing great. And you know what, guys? You guys are in the family. Absolutely.
Love that.
Well, we appreciate that. And we're going to try to grab you and Karen at homecoming when we've got this incredible ride that we'll talk about that we're doing to homecoming, but we're going to grab you guys, I think Sunday or Monday, and maybe do a little dual interview with the two of you, if you don't mind.
We look forward to it. I'm sure we might be a little tired after 3 or 4 days of a homecoming festival and party and music and great bikes and great food, but we look forward to meeting up with you guys live again.
Well, maybe we could get some spotted cow, some deer venison, and some Munster cheese from Milwaukee, and that'll solve all our issues.
That's right. Maybe some cheese hats.
We have met so many great people on the road, at the motor company, all around the bike. The bike has changed our lives. It's changed many people's lives, but it's when we're sitting here talking with you, you're the family legacy. It's pretty amazing.
It is amazing. I am very fortunate, very blessed to be part of this incredible family of riders, dealers, suppliers. And I've been around the world on a Harley-Davidson, if you will, riding to many different locations. And the neatest thing is, no matter where you go, that Harley-Davidson opens up doors, and it's the connector. It's the connector to friendship. It's the connector to meeting new people. It's the connector to conversation. It's amazing to me. And no matter where I am, I feel like I'm at home. I can be in South Africa. I can be in Brazil. I can be in California. I can be Colorado. It doesn't matter. It feels like I'm at home because people are so gracious and so welcoming And it's really that brotherhood and sisterhood that you feel, and it's awesome. And
Well, you
the
bring
other
up a
thing
really
is,
good point. You bring
yeah,
up a really good point, because Galen and I have been places where we're at wonders of the world looking at this nature, and people from other countries are there taking pictures of this land, and we pull up and they stop what they're doing and they turn and they want to sit on the bike and they want to talk. So right to what you're saying.
yeah, it's
But
amazing. I remember years ago I was at one of our first Harley Owners Group rallies in Denmark, and they were a little leery of us coming in there. And by the time the rally ended, they were begging us to come back. They loved us. But what was really cool, and this was quite some time ago, even before the euro existed. So there are different monetary exchanges, and obviously many different cultures, many different languages. And there were lots of people from a lot of different countries. But the neatest thing is, I remember, and I'll never forget this, standing around a motorcycle, a Harley, and not fully understanding all of the language, but it didn't matter because there was the common thread of Harley-Davidson woven amongst all of us standing around that bike. And through pointing and smiling and high-fiving and understanding a little bit of the lingo, we got by just fine, and we had a great time.
Well, when we started this channel, we knew a bit about the community because we would have stories with people as you pulled into different places. But what's been really interesting for us to see is this change where the impact on people's lives through the channel, watching our videos, helping them get through, whether it's they're bedridden from cancer, or whether it's their first time getting on a new bike, or whether it's getting the father and son riding together again, or the husband and wife finally taking that long trip. None of that is what we thought about at first. And now we get these incredible stories. And I know the motor company's got over, since 1903, there's hundreds of thousands of stories just like that. And that's kind of what we draw from it is it helps us want to do more and show more and get to different places in the country so that our brand continues to grow. But it's really more about the feel good story, which is why we call it Shaking Hands with America. And we're so blessed, and these Harleys have taken us to places that we've never thought. That when we were first riding, I didn't think we'd be in Canada riding. I didn't think we'd be taking Lubec, Maine, in the furthest northwest or northeast place in the country. So it's really been an incredible run and journey, and we can't wait to do more of it. When you were a young man, when did it kind of click in that, hey, my dad and my grandfather, and this is a pretty cool company, or we're doing some cool things here? When was there an age that clicked in at some point?
It's a great question, and I've thought about this a lot and frequently, obviously, but just a little bit of my own personal history with the family. My great-grandfather was William A. He was one of the four founders, along with his two brothers, Walter and Arthur. So 3 Davidson brothers and their very good friend, Bill Harley. William A. had some children, one of which was my grandfather, William H. William H. was president of the company from roughly 1942 to 1973. And he was our second president. The first president was Walter Davidson, who became president when we incorporated in 1907, and then retired as president in 1942, and that's when my grandfather took over as president. My grandfather had 2 boys, William G. Davidson and John Davidson, my uncle, my dad's brother. William G. Davidson, for a while, he was Bill, like me. And as he started to go out to events and so forth, he acquired the nickname Willie G, and that has stuck. And it's been an amazing journey growing up with. I often refer to my dad as my older brother because there's extreme love and friendship there. We ride together. Well, I should say we used to ride together and rode to many, many, many events. Dad still wishes he could ride, but he's 90 years old now, and still enjoys looking at the bikes and sitting around them and talking and so forth.
That's
And
awesome.
Willie had 3 kids. Willie and my mom, Nancy, had 3 kids. My brother, Michael, myself, and my sister, Karen. Michael has been involved with the company, but never really worked full time. I've been with the company, celebrating my 40th year this year. Karen joined in '89, and Karen and I are still full time, going at it, working hard, having fun. And you asked the question about when did it first hit me, and I'll never forget. The family, my mom, my dad, Karen, Michael, and I went to a state park just a little bit north of Milwaukee. And with us, we had a 1963 two-stroke M50. And Dad said, "You're going to learn how to ride today." My brother was 6, I was 7, and Karen was, I shouldn't say this, but she was a little bit older. And it was a day I'll never forget. The first time you feel that you take those handlebars and you're in control, that overwhelming sense of freedom that you feel. I will never, I'm getting goosebumps right now talking about it. I'll never forget it. And I haven't looked back. And as we were going through school, we'd go to family parties at my grandfather's house. And you can guess what the conversation usually was about. It was about Harley-Davidson and the company and the business and the customers and the dealer network and strategy and where we're going and all that kind of stuff. And that over time really started to attract me. And I thought, man, this is really cool stuff to hear about this motorcycle company. And it wasn't probably until I was probably a sophomore in high school when I realized that, wow, this is something really, really special, and how fortunate I am. And that's when I really started to hone in on the conversation at family gatherings. I started talking to my grandfather more frequently. I had a race bike. I used to race a Harley 250 motocross bike, which I kept in my grandfather's garage. And so whenever I'd go over there, Grandpa would come out, grab a stool, and sit next to me, and we'd just chat while I was re-ringing my two-stroke or whatever. My love for the company, for Harley-Davidson, for the brand, for the customers, everything about it, it just started to flow. And I joined the company in 1984, and I've had many awesome different stops on my career path, if you will, and overseeing the Harley Owners Group, working in product planning and overseeing that from a marketing perspective. I oversaw the racing team, the VR1000 and the XR750s for a while, marketing, sales promotion, the museum I ran for many, many, many years. And in fact, I'm sitting in the museum right now and sharing my dad's office.
That's awesome.
Well, and in the credit to your father, I mean, it took him and some investors to come back in and take Harley back under its Harley wing, and help shape, the future. And it's been interesting to hear about that and watch that. And Karen kind of was saying, like, well, we were just immersed in it, so we didn't know any different. And I get it, but you can see just, and you can also hear it in your words, how passionate you are, not only
Thank
for
you.
Harley, but the motorcycle industry and motorcycles in general. And it's just, it's great to hear those kind of stories.
Well, the cool thing for me, listening to this and knowing the history of Harley from 1903, it's really truly an American icon brand that is kind of part of the growth of this country. But we've got to meet a lot of the people in the brand over the years working with them, and now meeting yourself and your sister. part of the family. To me, it's like we hear a lot of things on the street, but we can say they're real people. They ride, they race, they're in it. So it's not just people behind a computer. It's a real vibe.
Yes.
And I love
Yeah. Thank you. We bleed orange and black just like you guys.
yeah.
We love it, and I'm an avid rider. I was on my Pan America last night, and tonight I'm on a 2012 XR 1200. And this weekend we're taking Willie up to a racetrack just a little bit north of Milwaukee, Road America, where the King of the Baggers are running Saturday and Sunday. We're going to hang out there with the team and the riders and cheer on our team.
Let's go, Kyle and James. And we had them on live when they started the first race, and they were in a little bit of weather last time, and we're going to see 1 and 2 on the podium. I have a feeling this
yes, we are.
So.
You mentioned some of the bikes that you've been on. If you could choose and only have one bike out of the years of bikes that you've had, is there one that you really have held on to or stands out to you more than another, or not?
So I'm very fortunate. I have a collection of motorcycles, and I have all of the bikes I've ever owned, except for maybe 2 or 3 of them.
That's amazing.
My earliest is a beautiful 36 knuckle that I love to ride. Absolutely love riding that. There's something about kick-starting and advanced retarding, the timing, and getting the throttle right and getting that formula right so that the ritual of bringing that baby to life is dead on. Otherwise, you might be kicking for a while. But when it does come to life, it just lights me up, and it's awesome to tank shift that, foot clutch it, and ride it. And the seat obviously has a major spring in it, and it's a hardtail, and so you bounce around and up and down in that seat quite a bit. And it's just a blast to ride. Really fun.
You're gonna have to try to do the cannonball run one day.
Yeah, right. Wouldn't that be incredible? My good friend Bill Redenzel, who used to work at the museum, had done that a couple of times on some incredible bikes.
Well, we've had Jason Sims, the person that runs the event. We had him on the show early on, and it was amazing to me to hear how he plans these things across the country. And then, the old scroller maps that they used, and the way that there is a sprint truck that'll be around you, but you got to, if you break down and can't fix it, you're out.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Should we try that one day?
It would be definitely interesting. We're used to having our road glides and street glides and doing heavy miles and getting places so we can do our production that we do. But it's still, people say, you guys are working so much and filming and doing so much stuff. Is it like, is the fun gone? No, it's not at all, because we're on a motorcycle, we're on a Harley, and we're still getting to see the country and learn. So for us, it's a new adventure every time.
Yeah, for sure. It's people often ask, what is it? What makes it so special? And it's the look, sound, and feel. And you throw your leg over one of these Harleys, and it just the heartbeat of that V-twin. It's soothing, and it feels good, and it looks good, and nature is exaggerated all around you. Heat, cold, rain, snow, whatever it is you're riding through. And it's exciting. It's that spirit of adventure that you follow your front wheel wherever it takes you, and it's fun. It's just fun.
So speaking of adventure, we always get asked, are there favorite trips? Is there a favorite state? You've ridden all over the world. We've actually had a couple comments here. Someone's on the, I think from down under in Australia had an ultra classic that maybe you signed and rode while you were
Awesome.
there. Someone in Europe has a bike. So oh, there it is. Good day, guys. I'm lucky enough to ride the 95th anniversary electric glide Bill rode on his
Fantastic.
visit down under.
There's a few comments about people that have ridden bikes that you've ridden.
Is there like any continents that you prefer over the other? Is there any states that you really enjoy more than the other? Or is it just all good?
You know, it's I have to be honest, it's all good. You know, people have asked me what's been your favorite ride. They all have been, right? I mean, there might be memories that stick out from certain locations or rides, but then I think about other locations and rides, and there's certain memories from those rides as well. So it's amazing. And you know, I look at my collection of bikes, and the beautiful thing about, not only are they great motorcycles and they look cool and they're fun to ride, but the memories I've got from those motorcycles are incredible. And
Yeah.
so it's such a neat thing. And again, it's the people you meet on these rides and locations you go to. It's just a great experience.
Well, just like we always say, when people ask us now, what's our favorite ride? All we can really say is our last one.
Or the next one.
Yeah.
Or the
next one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't even own cars. We're not only are we broke from doing this.
No cars.
We don't own cars. So it makes it quite tricky when there's rain and weather here, which luckily there's not that much of generally, but our wives do have cars. So, but this is our daily commute. And then it's also our business machine where we're out hitting the various roads and interstates. And and we don't know how to answer that question that well at the end of the day, because we didn't know how beautiful Canada and the Icefield Parkway was. Didn't even understand that. And did that last year. And we're just like, wow, did we just ride? What did we just ride through? That was so insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think to your point about, you know, I don't think people really realize until they get out on the road how aware you are and how you're so locked in, and the different things that you see on a bike than when you're riding in a car. And you're not kind of in this climate controlled environment. You're in the elements and it feels good. And it can be a challenge. And I think that's healthy for riders, for the brain, for the body.
Yeah.
It's pretty inspiring.
Even repeat trips. I mean, it's just like a great movie, a classic movie. I can go on the same trip over and over, and every time I see something different.
Yeah.
So you never get bored.
No, I've done many trips from Milwaukee to Daytona. Some very cold trips from Milwaukee to Daytona.
Yeah.
Many trips out to Sturgis, and you're exactly right. You never get bored. You can take the same route, and every year you do it, you're going to meet new, different people. Maybe you stop at a little bit different restaurant or gas station, and you meet people there. And it's, you know, at the end of the day, when you might be pulling over to camp or get a motel room or whatever, and you sit around with your buddies and you're chatting about the day's ride, man, that's fun too. You know, all the things that you experience during the adventure, the journey. It's just fantastic.
Nothing like a great dinner after a good ride, you know. That's always that's the powwow time.
Yeah,
breakfast,
for sure.
Breakfast.
I love getting up in the morning with a cup of coffee and some eggs and bacon and going, we're going again today. This is great.
And that, you know, just the whole Route 66. I've never heard anyone from another country say anything other than, I want to ride Route 66 on a Harley-Davidson. They don't say a motorcycle. They say a Harley-Davidson.
Yeah. Yeah. I did that several years ago. We put together a Route 66 ride, and it was fantastic. Absolutely.
Yeah, we did it too.
Did you go from Chicago to Santa Monica?
Yeah, the whole thing. And
we went backwards.
Yeah, it was fabulous. Love to do it again, actually.
Yeah, it's just so, I mean, that's kind of, how we come up with the 2LaneLIVE name. It's because when you can get off the interstate and you find these quaint little towns, the most interesting stories start to happen. And 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 we love being part of that. And we're proud of our ability to kind of share that with people. And when I look at you and things, is there one thing or are there many things that you can sit back and say, yeah, I'm proud of that? Is it you're a good brother? Is it a good son? Is there something that you're proud of, whether legacy wise?
Yeah, you know, this is fulfilling a dream of keeping this amazing American icon going. And I put my heart and soul into it. And I love every second of it. And it's whether I'm listening to a customer about their bikes, or I'm talking to a dealer about their business, or I'm strategically planning business for the company. It's awesome. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. It's a challenge. And that's something. You look at our 121-year history from 1903 to where we are today, and you think about the good and the bad, because it was not always easy. The buyback and trying to bring this company back from when we sold out to AMF.
Right.
And AMF was not all bad. AMF helped us in many ways. They invested a ton of money. They educated us from a manufacturing perspective out in New York. But they also didn't provide us some of the guidance that we needed. So it was a kind of a mixed bag. But, after we bought the company back, my dad, one of the lucky 13 investors, there was a lot of work we had to do. And there were some scary moments. And, the hard work pays off, though. And, I mentioned keeping this American icon going. I know I'm not alone in that boat. And that is the most proud feeling, when you have literally hundreds of thousands of Harley-Davidson customers around the world that are supporting our brand and cheering us on and enjoying riding their Harley-Davidsons. I can't think of anything more rewarding. It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great story. And I said this, or I think we said this to Karen as well, and you can speak to this a little bit, but she was talking about your dad going into the dealerships and kicking the tires, and that you and she also are still in touch with that. And I come from a background typically of more of the corporate environment, and always as an executive tried to make sure I was out kicking the tires, because I think that's where you learn the most. And it's just impressive to me that he instilled that in all of you to keep listening and keep your ear to the grindstone and listen to the customer and listen to the dealers. Because when you lose that sense and you're up in the ivory tower, then things don't get done as well. And I commend you guys for doing that.
Thank you. And what's really cool about that goes back to the very beginnings. I'll tell you a little quick story about our first dealer. His name was C.H. Lang, and he sold piano tuning tools that he made. So he could sell these tools and people could tune their pianos. And he wanted to become our first Harley-Davidson dealer, and he was in Chicago. And so the founders, my relatives, set him up as the first dealer. And when they incorporated in 1907, they thought, boy, how are we going to make sure that the customer is represented in our board meetings? So they invited Mr. Lang to join our board in 1907.
Wow.
And in the museum, in the serial number 1 room where we've got the 1903 serial number 1, on the back display panel, and many of you might have seen this, but there is a board book from that very first board meeting. And on the page it's open to are all the founders' signatures and then C.H. Lang's signature. And so this philosophy of remaining close to the customers, you know, my dad's famous words, "We ride with you," that he said from the stage at the 100th anniversary in Milwaukee. That's what we do. We ride with you, and we enjoy it, and we are all ears. We like hearing good and bad because we take that very seriously, and we can feed that back to the appropriate experts at our company, whether it's marketing or engineering or motor clothes or whatever it might be, to ensure that we're continually evolving to that next epic level of greatness and quality and performance. So it's that close to the customer philosophy was planted in the bricks very early on, and it has continued to grow since that time, which is awesome.
Yeah, very important.
Yeah.
Very important. You know, we are in a different time now, and we're here not only to tell stories, but we want people to actually purchase motorcycles, and we want them to purchase Harleys, but we want them to purchase something just to get outdoors. And if Harley's not their first bike, get something. And I don't know, I've been kind of noodling this lately. Does the e-bike, does that help progress sales later on? Because there was this wave where it was saying this age group was not going to ride, and that's a different demographic. And I think putting in place like the reused or the used bike sales to get people on bikes a little bit more inexpensive bikes to get them started. But I'm wondering if the e-bikes out there, and I don't, it's just popped in the mind. Do people get out on those and now they can feel the sense of the wind blowing through their hair a little bit? And does that help us continue bike sales? I don't know if you guys have any opinions on that or not.
You know, it's I think our Livewire brand of motorcycles, I think it's little bit misunderstood, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because it's so different, and because it's not a 45-degree air-cooled, oil-cooled, precision-cooled, potato motor, it's viewed differently. But I have to tell you, when you get an opportunity to test ride one of them, do it.
Oh, we have.
Because your senses will be ignited in a whole different way. And to be able to feel that motorcycle through your right wrist, the throttle, the extreme acceleration of instant torque, and then when you roll off the throttle, that aggressive torque braking from an electric motor, it is incredible. And I enjoy riding them. You know, we are working hard in that arena because, as you guys know, there's lots of things changing around the world, and we can't just sit still and say, well, nothing's going to happen. We have to be prepared, and you know, we're and don't get me wrong, we're going to do gas and oil for as long as we possibly can, and I hope it goes on for eternity, right? And that's what my garage is. It's all gas and oil, and I love it.
I mean, it's got to.
Yeah,
It's got the soul, the heart, the thump, the rhythm.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we actually did take the bikes out, and I will exactly what you said. I mean, they were fun. They were super fast and super fun. But I'm also thinking that maybe the pedal bike e-bikes if that can get someone on two wheels,
Oh, the pedal
and
bike.
now they get some balance in them, and now it's like, man, maybe I should jump into a motorcycle. I can handle this stuff. I'm just hoping that wave kind of continues. Like his grandson right now, he's 4.
Yeah.
He's push bikes, he's on pedal bikes, he's on electric bikes.
The Stasic.
He's taking podiums.
He's doing dirt jumping and flat track.
And 5 and 6-year-old. And I see that and I go, he's going to ride. And
Yep.
and I'm hoping that the pedal bike e-bike system, it's pretty popular out here in California.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that takes that person to kind of the next level. And I think that's a segment we're going to tap into as a company. We have the opportunity to offer those electric bikes through our drag account, and maybe we can help push people. Let's get into now riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great opportunity, and you can see it happening with these young kids, and they're intrigued with it. And to get young kids on any form of 2 wheels is fantastic. You know, when I started riding, I remember we had all kinds of farm fields around our house. Well, those farm fields are gone.
Right.
They're not subdivisions, right? So we got to think of new and different ways for young kids to spend time with their families and getting out and riding, because it's going to be the future riders that we all want to see, to ensure that our brand we love continues forever. And that's something really cool. You know, I mentioned I'm sitting at the museum right now. We have a bike night going on. In fact, the race team is here. Kyle's here and James is here. The bikes are here. And what's really cool, on any given bike night, which we have Thursday nights from May through September here in Milwaukee at the Harley-Davidson Museum, it's so cool to see the bonding of people from all walks of life. And it's the young riders are talking to the experienced riders because they want to know, they want to learn. And the experienced riders are talking to the young riders because the experienced riders want to ensure, like I said, that their brand is going to continue for the future. And so there's this just awesome bonding and collaborating, and it occurs every bike night, every Thursday night. You can see it happening.
Well, we're fortunate here that a couple older guys, but we ride with younger guys, my son and his group over at Thrash. And so we get to go on these great trips, and, you know, you got wheelie kids and the burnout guys. But what we've heard several times is these young guys say, we want to do trips like you guys are doing. We want to go travel state to state and get that feeling of what it's like to get up in the morning and saddle up and keep going. You're not going home. You're going farther from home. So we see a lot of younger people wanting to travel, wanting to go to Sturgis, wanting to go to Homecoming. I mean, we've been fortunate. We went and met Paul James at the Motherland, the factory, Juneau. And we were able to leave from there on some bikes from the building there and ride to Maine with our wives.
How cool.
So Milwaukee to Maine. So we've done some cool things that we're trying to share and get the youth to go travel.
Yep. It's awesome. And, you know, when I think back on my upbringing, and some of the best memories were riding with my mom and dad. The 100th anniversary. Yeah. We rode as a family from Milwaukee out to Riverside, California. We took about 10 days, did Bryce Canyon, all that, Zion National Park, had a blast. Nice. Got to Riverside, and that's when the actual event kicked in. And then we stopped at dealers all the way on our route back to Milwaukee. And oh man, I got so many stories I could share about that ride. The people, it's just incredible. One gentleman, I got to just share this with you. It was so cool. So he showed up in Riverside, and basically just his bike. He had a Road King, and he got to know us a little bit. And so that night he said, well, I told my wife I was going to turn around and come home. So he was going to go home that night. And my mom started working on, like, you got to come with us. You got to come for at least another day. We'll go to Target. We'll take you shopping. We'll get you everything you need, right? So he said, all right, I'll stay one more night, but that's it. I got to get back to my wife. Long story short, we took him shopping several nights, and he rode all the way to Milwaukee with us.
Perfect.
It was so cool, and he couldn't be more thankful for the experience that he encountered with all of us. It was really cool.
And you think of these different adventures and different events and things that you can do. I mean, in 2026, Route 66 will be 100 years old. Well, we're going to run it again, the whole thing. I'll turn 66 that year. He was born in 1966. It's 100 years old on Route 66. So there's this reason that we've conjured up that we have to do it again.
That's awesome.
We might be sleeping on the side of the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So look, we leave Los Angeles, excuse me, on July 20th. So you and Karen, or Karen's out here, you should fly out here. You jump on a bike and we'll take you with us. We're doing 5 dealerships. We'll hit Red Rock Harley-Davidson the first day in Las Vegas. We'll be in Linden, Utah. Then we're headed to Cheyenne. Then I think we're doing Iowa and then Nebraska. And so we'll get 5 dealerships. We're doing meet and greets. It'll be a party every time we stop.
Oh, I'm sure.
Let's go for a ride. If you can't do that, we do have to go for a ride sometime.
Well, we'll see you in Milwaukee at homecoming for sure.
Yeah. Milwaukee,
there's the
we'll
schedule.
see you guys. And I someday I'd love to ride with you guys. It would be awesome. Really would. Be really
Well,
fun.
we got to ride in New Mexico with a lot of the crew and some other influencers in New Mexico with Jochen and a lot of the staff. And it was really a great experience for us because we got to meet, eat, and hang out with people. I mean, we have a couple that we always do anyway, but we got to take it to the next level. And that's where it got for us personal. And when we came home from that, we were like, well, if we hear anyone say anything, we can say, no, the people at corporate, they ride, they work, they're in it like we are,
Yeah.
And a lot of people
Absolutely.
respect that.
Yeah, it's important. It's important to demonstrate the belief, the how saturated we are in our day-to-day responsibilities at the company, and to be able to get out and ride with people from all walks of life all around the world and absorb, just listen and absorb, and then to take that back and download and say, hey, have we thought about this? Or I got this feedback. And it's amazing. Sometimes I'll get some questions where I won't know the answers, but I will share with the person, hey, I'm sorry I don't know the answer, but I will get you an answer. And it is the best feeling to make a phone call and provide an answer to a customer. They're sometimes blown away that I will pick up the phone and call them back, say, hey, this is Bill Davidson from Harley-Davidson. How you doing? And I love it. I love that.
Well, we could stand up and show you our belt buckles, but we're not going to do that.
Why not?
Can you see them? I don't know if you can see them.
Our Harley-Davidson belt buckles
Awesome.
that we
Love
got
it.
on our trip, and there was only like 30 or 40 of them made.
Awesome.
And we wear them proudly daily.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Have you guys ridden the new touring bike, the 2024 or the 2020?
We have
There's three in the parking lot.
Well, we have our new ones. We've ridden the CVOs. We've ridden every one of them through with you guys,
Yeah.
testing and riding them. We rode them from LA to Sturgis, the CVOs, and back through rain and all kinds of weather. So
Yeah.
we've been on them for 6 months and love them. And we have our own now.
Awesome. And you love them?
Oh, best bike out of the box I've ever had.
Yeah.
And I've had Road King, a couple of street glides, a couple of road glides. And when I saw this one, it was like, I really dig it. And then when I rode it, it was like, wow, this thing's amazing. And then we all pretty much feel the same now.
Well, Brad, all the design team, all the engineers, we actually had dinner with a couple folks in Deadwood last year because we had the 23 CVOs that we, as he's mentioned, rode. We put them through the paces. It was a very wet year. We did 1,100 miles in 15 hours one day. So we put them through the paces, and we were super impressed with them then. We're on the road glides. We didn't do the CVO or the ST. But the 117, and we sell aftermarket motorcycle parts, and you know, this bike does not need a lot of change. It's a stock bike. The price point's great, but the big things that I kind of found is the 117 with the liquid cooled, so strong and powerful. The upgrade to the suspension that was done, you know, you can really adjust it to get it to where you need it to be. We're going to have to work hard to sell parts for that bike because it is out of the box. It's a rideable bike that you don't need to do much to, if anything.
But one beautiful thing about Harley through the years, it's always been a great bike and a great canvas for the person to get that bike and customize it the way they want it to be their bike. And that's the thing that most other brands don't offer you. Harley, that's why I think it's such a family deal, because people get the heart, they put their soul into it, they make it their own bike, but it's still a Harley. No matter what they do to it, it's still a Harley.
Yeah.
Wow, that was deep and complex, my friend.
Yeah, it is awesome. I enjoyed many a Daytona and Sturgis and Loudon walking Main Street with my dad, Willie. And we'd always just say, man, it's just amazing because on this entire Main Street, you don't see two bikes alike.
Right.
And they're all individualized to that individual's preference and their artistic abilities, and they're making them their own, which is just each one of them is a statement, which is so cool. And Willie often has talked about, you know, we're going to offer a beautiful canvas, and then people can accessorize and make them their own. And it's been awesome.
Well, will Willie be, or your dad, will he be in Milwaukee this year at the homecoming?
For the homecoming?
Yes.
We are hoping to get Willie to the homecoming. Yes.
We'd love to meet him.
Yep. We will.
I can relate. My father's 91 and he comes into this warehouse every day and works with us.
Oh, awesome.
So
Willie's doing great, and he's a very accomplished watercolor artist. And
awesome. I like that.
He's painting watercolors every day, and he's still doing some minimal design work. He just finished the T-shirt design for Sturgis for this year.
Really?
So, yeah. The Willie G.
I have to get one of those.
Sturgis T-shirt. Yep. So he still can't get enough. He loves it.
What a great example, right?
Yeah, really. Yeah.
So you're sitting in the museum, and you were kind of running that at one point.
Yes.
Speak to just a little bit. I mean, we've been there a few times, and words can't really do it justice. But like the tank wall and some of the history and like for people that are maybe wanting to go there, is there, because we got the behind the scenes, which was we could go into the archives and see mean, is there certain things that they should look for when they're looking at tickets to buy and get the best for their buck, or what do you think there?
So there's a couple of behind the scenes tours which are really cool. But you know, just to come here to see the museum is phenomenal in itself. And then you can add on some of these other tours if you want. But if you think about it, here's this American icon, 121 years old. And all of that history is here at the museum.
Yeah.
Everything
insane.
from the first motorcycle, serial number 1, to present 2024 motorcycles and everything in between. And it's interesting to me that the founders kept things. We were very lucky that they kept things, because now
Right.
we have a very rich story to tell from the very, very, very beginnings. And when you think about founders and the responsibilities they have, no matter what company it is, they're probably more focused on ensuring that the business is going to be successful and not necessarily thinking about keeping things. But with the Davidsons and Harley, they thought a little bit differently. And they thought, man, this is really special. We're going to hang on to this, or we're going to keep this. And they, you know, so the museum was such a dream come true for all of us, because it's been an enabler to gather 121 years of history and put it on display under one roof for people from all over the world to come here and enjoy and absorb. And I often say that the museum is a treasure chest, and we have a lot of motorcycles. There's over 500 motorcycles here, lots of memorabilia, but it's also an amazing library of stories.
Mm-hmm.
Stories. I mean, it is incredible. And I'll be honest, when I started at the museum, running the museum in 2009, I thought I knew a lot about our history. You know, growing up in the family and being a part of the company for so long, I didn't know much. I'll be honest. And when I started working here, I learned incredible things, just incredible. And so my dream is for people to also come here and spend quality time to learn some of those incredible stories of what we've been through and what a great success story this truly is.
So all you people watching out there, get to the museum. It's really worth it. Like I say, we've been there. We loved it.
Got to check it out. And you, to your point, you don't realize some people that had the foresight of putting a gas combustible engine on this bike and creating something that was going to impact the police, the soldiers, the military, the common man, it just, and to preserve that and keep that. I think they probably knew at the time they had something very special, and they need to categorize the stuff and keep it in,
Yeah.
It's kind of like our hat holster.
Oh,
We just sold one. So I go a few minutes longer here with you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine. This is great.
The hour.
Love talking to you guys.
So it looks like we might be doing Milwaukee to Sturgis, and we're not going to try to take all of the Willie G ride, but I think we'd love to find a couple points where the family has ridden through and just at least show the viewer, here's kind of some cool places along the way getting from Milwaukee to Sturgis. We're usually LA to Sturgis and back.
Okay. I mean, unless you want us to take the exact route, we will.
Unless you want to ride with us, and we'll go.
We're not going to lie about that one.
Yeah. We'll pay for dinner every night. But that ride has been in your family for a long time, has it not?
Yeah, that ride has been many, many years. And I've been Sturgis, my first Sturgis was 1984. and I've been going
Wow.
almost every year since. And same with Daytona. I rode to both events my first year with the company, and it was fantastic. And to see how those events have changed is pretty amazing. Sturgis has changed quite a bit, and you know, I remember going out to Sturgis when there was no buffalo chip. The only thing out there was the drag strip, and Sturgis was basically Main Street, and Deadwood was not a real happening scene. You'd ride up there, spend an hour there, and then ride on. And now Deadwood has become a major hub, and the chip is awesome, and everything else that's out there.
Deadwood's my favorite.
Campground, Full Throttle Saloon, and I mean it's really cool how it has changed. But I'm also glad that I was able to see it at a different stage earlier on in my life, in 84, 85, 86 time frame.
Well, rumor has it they can't pull you out of the chip.
So this guy Tex just asked us to ask you how great the ride in Australia was.
He'll tell us how awesome Australia is to ride in.
Yes.
You know, that the riding in Australia is one of my favorite places. I've
Really?
met many wonderful people there. I was there in 2018. We were celebrating the 100th anniversary of Harley-Davidson in Australia, and we rode from Melbourne down to Sydney, and it was a 10-day ride, and it was fantastic. Stopped at our dealerships, met a lot of great people, and loved it. In fact, I saw bits of Australia that I didn't even know really exist. We went through this mountainous range that was just breathtaking. In fact, we ran into some cowboys that were bringing a fairly large herd of cattle from up in the mountains down to the lowlands for the winter. And we're tooling along on these mountain roads, and all of a sudden I started to smell this peculiar odor, and it's kind of misty now, kind of foggy in the mountains. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's manure, and this might get a little slick. So we backed down a little bit, and the odor kept getting stronger and stronger. We came around this bend, and all you could see was cows across the road. And I've got video of this. And there were some cowboys working these cattle, and they kind of separated them a little bit, and then they flagged us to come through. Well, when we rode through, you could reach out and touch those cows. We were part of the herd.
The thundering herd.
Yeah.
Well, we have a lot of people that have invited us down to Australia over the last few years. They always say, you guys come down, you're welcome, we'll put you up. Please come to Australia.
You got to do it. It's beautiful.
I think we need to get there. We need to get across the pond. We were actually going to try to do the 100th or the 80th anniversary of D-Day and get on some period motorcycles and ride across, and that didn't pan out. It's because of the 80s. It's so expensive with everything that's going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have not. We've only ridden in Canada is the only other country we've ridden in, and Hawaii, which is not a country, but it was certainly beautiful.
Well, I tell people also, and we tell them all the time, there's so much to see in this country.
Oh, absolutely.
And if you really want to see it, you got to see it on a Harley, because then you'll feel it.
The Avenue of the Giants, the Redwood Forest.
Phenomenal. Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Absolutely phenomenal. I will never forget that. That was incredible. The Grand Canyon, Niagara Falls. I mean, Maine.
Oh,
it just
spectacular.
Yeah, just Santa Fe area. Albuquerque. I mean, it's just, there's so many awesome places, and you know, it's great to travel around the world, but it's always good to come home. It's always
Definitely.
great.
Well, Bill, we appreciate the time. We're at the hour, and I just really want to thank you for taking the time. I know you've got bike night there, and you're going to get down there with the guys and talk a little bit of racing. To have you and your sister as part of our family and our show means the world to us. And you didn't have to take the time out of your day to do this, but it's sure been a pleasure to hear you, to see you, because the energy and the passion, it comes out of you, and you can see it, and it's real, and it feels great, and want to thank you for, and your family.
Well, he kind of reminds us of us.
He's totally us, but you know, the Harley Davidson for us has been an incredible vehicle to tell our story, and the Harley Davidson for many has helped them, whether it's veterans or first responders that have experienced PTSD, to get out on and free their mind, whether it's cancer survivors, whether it's people riding for the first time.
Yeah.
Your motor company has changed the way people think and the way people feel about themselves, and that's got to be an exceptional feeling for you and the family. So we appreciate it.
It truly is. You know, when we are meeting and greeting our customers and they come up to us, some in tears, but thanking us for what Harley-Davidson has brought to them and how it has changed their life in a positive way. And, you know, I can't think of anything more rewarding than to hear something like that. It's fantastic. And that's what keeps us going. You know, we want to make sure people are having fun. They're getting out. They're trying our new motorcycles. They're experiencing the lifestyle, the customization. They're stopping at the dealerships because it's a fantastic experience. And I want to thank you guys, because we appreciate what you're doing, and you're doing an awesome job. And you truly do bleed orange and black, and you are part of the family. So thank you guys.
Love it.
Thank you. And we can't wait to meet you in person at homecoming, and we'll sit down and maybe break some bread, or at least have a discussion with you guys.
Looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Spotted cow, venison, salami, and
Cheese
Munster
curds.
cheese.
And cheese hats.
Yeah. So we'll shake hands when we finally meet you in Milwaukee.
Looking forward to it, guys. Thank you so much.
Tell the boys hello for us, and wish them.
I will.
I don't know what we do in racing. We just say good luck, or
Go for it.
go
But
for
tell
it.
Kyle
yeah.
that we're still looking for a cowboy hat for him.
All right. I'll let him know. I'm going to go
And
say hello to him right now.
Before we leave, have you ever had a dealership open up out of a chicken coop?
You know, that might be a rare one. I don't know if it's the only one, because I know in some of our international countries there may be a chicken coop or two. But I know Harv's Harley-Davidson, Kyle's grandfather started their dealership in their chicken coop, and that is such an awesome story. And the fact that they're still on that same property with a beautiful dealership now, but all of that history and heritage, and my gosh, so cool.
And as you know, they're such a great family.
Yes.
We were able to meet his mother last year at homecoming, and we've met all the brothers, and just a super family.
Super great family. Yep.
So
All right.
tell them hello.
I will.
And, I guess we'll see you down the road.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you guys. Appreciate
See you
it.
down the road.
Well, I can say that
Wow.
I pretty much just watched that one as a viewer, and that was super interesting to hear the history, hear the first time, first person account from his perspective, hearing about the AMF days and the rides and seeing the passion. That was a good time.
Good times.
Well, not kidding. I mean, we're blessed to have the Davidson family on the it's just that's amazing.
Yeah.
And both of them, just you can tell the energy and the passion they have for the motor company, and they're just damn good people.
Well, I think our energy and passion comes out, and I think we've shared stories around the world, around the country, and we have a base of people that we love. They love us, so it's all good.
It is all good.
Are we still live?
It is all good. We are still live. I just figured we'd give people a couple updates, like this coming Wednesday, 4:00 p.m. PST. We're dropping the actual Fletcher Street episode from our Philly trip, where we go hang out with the Fletcher Street Riding Club. It's
a good
60
one.
years of legacy and family history and riding horses in the inner city, and also motorcycles.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think, is it next week that we have Nas on from Fletcher Street as well?
Yes.
So we'll be doing our live with one of the individuals that runs Fletcher Street, and can't wait for her to share their story. That, to me, was just one of the most incredible things we've done.
Right.
And especially being able to tell their story and give back to them. I can't wait for people to see that.
It's going to be great. And you know what? I think Harley-Davidson's doing a post.
They might be.
Right.
They might
about
be.
our little trip there. So I think it'll be a reel, but check it out. Great show, great time, good people. The Davidsons.
And
2LaneLIVE, highwaymen.com.
Yes.
2LaneLife.com. And I guess we just might see you
Down the road.
Let me see. I'll end the stream.